Hello, my name is Carol May Whittick, spiritual life coach. Thank you for tuning into Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations. This week, I explore an intriguing aspect of self-development and spiritual growth, unconscious contracts. From Carl Jung, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And this is for you if perhaps you want to launch a podcast, speak in public, confidently express yourself in your daily life and you're still feeling stuck in your stories or your fears around your voice. I'm talking about my new course, Your Awakened Voice. This is a self-led course for you to release and realize the real power, the true power of your voice. And this course will support you to clear any energetic blockages and release any disempowering fears that you have about your voice. Now more than ever, the world needs people who are in their true voice. So for more information and details about how to enroll, check the links in the show notes. Join the High Energetic Resonance Inspirations mailing list. On every Monday following the Friday release of this episode, you'll get an accompanying email. You'll receive additional journaling, meditation, inspirational notes, and also links to any additional resources and exclusives. Again, check the show notes for the link. And when you sign up, you will receive the free Embody Higher Energetic Resonance course, where you feel into your vision physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and then start to take action on your dreams from there. From Eric Michael Leventhal. The closer you come to knowing that you alone create the world of your experience, the more vital it becomes for you to discover just who is doing the creating. Unconscious contracts refer to the unspoken beliefs or agreements that we hold. And these agreements can be made with someone else. They can be made with ourselves. Some people even make these agreements with spirit, the universe, God. The whole reason they're called unconscious contracts of it, it's not something that we realize that we have consciously done. And often when we take on these unconscious contracts, it actually feels like we're doing the right thing, that we're doing something beautiful, that we're doing something right. Think about if you find yourself saying things like, I always, I never, I must. They could be clues to where you're holding yourself in a rigid or absolute state and you're operating from a limitation, and a limitation that could be as a result of an unconscious contract. So here's some examples of some unconscious contracts that people hold. For example, if you came from a broken home, if your parents divorced, you may have made a decision, a contract with yourself that you'll never get married. And you may not even realize that you made it, but you just find that you will never really go all the way with relationships. You'll always find a way of sabotaging them. You may have an unconscious contract that bleeds over from a previous lifetime, whereas maybe in your previous life that you were not the nicest of persons, or you did something that you felt was deeply, deeply wrong, and now you're carrying over a feeling of worthlessness and feeling that you're not worthy of being happy or powerful in this lifetime, and not really knowing where it comes from. And again, finding that you're creating events around yourself to sabotage any kind of progress that you might be making in this life. Then there's a contract of loyalty to family, and this can come in so many ways, and sometimes it may not even make sense. For example, if you come from a family of thieves, if you go on the straight and narrow and you're an honest person, you're breaking a family contract by going the opposite way to the way that your family is. They have a contract of this is who we are, we're crooks, we're thieves. And the fact that you choose to be an honest person, an upstanding person that doesn't choose to break the law, is in its way actually breaking the contract that you have with your family. Also, there's a contract of addiction, and somehow that also gets replayed within you, and it may not always show up in the same type of addiction. It could be that you come from a family where the addiction is alcoholism, and yet you find that your addiction bleeds into another narcotic of sorts. Also, there's the contract of staying small to avoid overshadowing other people in your family. You may not even be aware that you're diminishing your own achievements in order to not rise above the status of the family. And the reason that unconscious contracts is this week's topic. Is last week I was in a masterclass with my coach, and on one of the days that we did a really deep meditation, and one of the things that she asked us to do within this meditation was to write down, in what way are we holding ourselves back from what we say that we want. We all have big visions and big goals in our group, and yet we all find that we're having to work through a lot of stuff. Even though we're taking big strides and big step forward, there's always something that we have to address. In this meditation, during this meditation, she asked this question of us, and then asked us to write down what came up for us. And for me as well, when I was writing down my response to it, the first thing that came to my mind is like, I don't know if I heard the question correctly, because what I was writing wasn't what I thought I'd heard her say. But what came up for me was the reason that I hold myself from going a step further is, even though I'm not physically connected to my family, I don't see them, there's some estrangement there. The way that I maintain my connection to them is by limiting the amount of success that I have. And by doing that then plays into their idea of who I am. So I am still linked to the family by token of being who they see me to be. And I was still playing into that belief. And to say that that was a sledgehammer moment is a wild understatement. But it brought so much clarity to me at that point. And with that self-awareness and with staring into the face of that truth, it was then easy for me to let it go. The aha moment of it, the clarity of it was enough. I've since shared this moment with a couple of friends. Everyone who I've shared it with has felt the weight of that, either from my perspective or then reflecting on where they might be doing the same within their own lives as well. So when it comes to recognizing where we have unconscious contracts, sometimes they're buried and rooted so deep, and the reasons that we hold on to it in some way feel righteous, feel pure, even though they're sabotaging what we want for ourselves on a greater scale. And why do we hold on to this, or why do we create the unconscious contracts in the first place? We think the majority of our unconscious contracts are developed in childhood. So when we make promises and when we do a lot of actions in our childhood, we don't really realize what the long-term implications are of that. We're thinking about our safety in the moment. And if you're in a family unit, then being anything different than anyone around you is putting you in an unsafe situation. Witnessing the pain of a chaotic and traumatic relationship, in your mind, you're like, that just looks like a world of hurt. And as a child, you decide, I'm not going to go there as well. I want things to be cushy and nice. So that's not for me. So usually made when we have a lack of awareness of the greater cost of making those contracts and keeping ourselves in that place of safety. And how do we know? How can we be aware that we have some such contracts operating in our lives? We'll take a look at the behaviours and the choices that we make. Our unconscious contracts are the things that are going to shape our thoughts, our emotions, and the way that we're turning up. Where do we find ourselves returning back to a set point? Where are we self-sabotaging to the point that we never reach the heights that we want to? What do we think are the potential negative consequences of stepping forward into what we say we want? That belief could be, and often is, just an unconscious contract, an unconscious belief that we have about something. Look at where we have these limiting beliefs and what are our emotional patterns around something. Where do we get triggered? Where do we find ourselves reacting in ways that are not necessarily reasonable? And ultimately, what we have to remember is unconscious contracts, when we make them, are made and we don't realize that going forward, they are going to hinder our growth. So if we want to achieve that growth, if we want to step into the mastery of ourselves, we need to bring light to what we have, these beliefs, these contracts, and start identifying the way that these things are actually holding us back, and why, and ask ourselves, where's this coming from? Why? This takes radical awareness, self-awareness, noticing patterns, really checking in with ourselves and asking ourselves why we continue to do the same things we do, even though we say we want so much more. And once we become really aware of what it is that we're facing, is to then to begin to forgive. Forgiveness all round. Forgive the people that would have created a scenario, or forgive the scenario itself that lodged us into that unconscious contract. And forgive ourselves as well, because we made them when we didn't really realise how our present safety was going to actually cost us a long-term personal achievement. And then look at, as well as deep meditation, contemplation and journaling, look at more releasing practices as well. Some people will then really go back to reparenting and inner child work. But when it comes to healing and when it comes to releasing ourselves from these unconscious contracts, they will only work once you decide that you are worthy of the freedom and freeing yourself from the bind that you've put yourself in. And believe that you are worthy of the vision and the liberation that your vision is showing you, to step up into the bigger and the greater part of yourself, the part that your soul wants you to have. And know that there is a bigger experience of life for you on the other side of this. And from Hal Elrod, the moment you take responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you can change anything in your life. Thank you for joining me again for another episode of Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations. And if you're getting value from this series, let me know. Share the breakthroughs that you're having and share your struggles too as well. Tell me what's coming up for you as you're navigating this thing called life. If there are any subjects that you would like me to explore and tap into, do share those with me as well. You can share them to me via email, across my social media. You can find me on Instagram, Kazmick, Cazmick, Facebook, Carol May Whittick, on LinkedIn, Carol May Whittick, and my website, carolmaywhittick.com, CarolMaywhittick.com. I would love to hear from you. And also as well, listening to this episode, this is just to awaken something within you, and then for you to actually take on the deeper work and the deeper exploration. And I offer additional prompts in the Monday email that comes out after the Friday release of this. So if you're not yet on the mailing list, do follow the link in the show notes for that as well. You'll also receive the free Embody Higher Energetic Resonance course as well. This is 3 steps closer to becoming the woman of your dreams. And also remember, there is my Higher Energetic Resonance one-to-one spiritual life coaching program. And this is for you if you are ready to embrace the purpose of your life and turn it into your breathtaking reality. My purpose is here to help you make it happen. So until the next episode, have a fantastic week. Take care. Bye.